everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking shoes, and we're talking specifically all the different barefoot shoes that are out there from barefoot.store. So what I've done for several years now is basically build up my collection of barefoot shoes. It all started with these black low top Ursus, and then it basically snowballed from there. So I got the black low tops, and then the Kabuki limited edition Ursus high tops in canvas came out. After that, I got a set of the Oso, and the Osos were available in suede at the time, so these are the suede shoes. And then I really just liked them so much that I went and I sprung for the Bruin boot, which the Bruin seems to be my everyday wear shoe. But with that, I'm going to jump straight into it. We're going to cover the more gym-oriented shoes first, which are going to be the Ursus, and then I'm going to work my way into the more everyday wear shoes, give you my thoughts and opinions, and of course, whether or not I think they're right for you. So coming up first, I'm going to talk about the Ursus Suede low-top shoes. Now, I've had these shoes for more than 2 years. I've both worn them just in the gym as well as an everyday wear type of shoe. The actual gym notes are going to be pretty much the same between the Ursus, because the only difference is actually the height that goes around the ankle. But real quick, the Ursus low top offer a wide toe box. Now I will say that as an everyday wear shoe, there are a couple things that I didn't really like as far as using it every day. The first of which was the insole. Now the insole is different on the Ursus versus the Osos and the Bruin. On the Ursus, the high top and the low top, it comes with a more sports oriented cloth type of insole. What I found is that by wearing this every day, and because of the wider toe box and my foot's ability to kind of splay out and move inside of that toe box, is that I wore some holes in the insole, more specifically just the insole fabric, and then I ended up just basically tearing the insole out, and again, that was just in the low tops. So as far as an everyday wear shoe, I will say that once I removed the actual insole, my foot does like kind of stick a little bit better because it's just, you know, part of an insole, not the full thing. It's still comfortable to use. I do still wear these occasionally out in public, but I've replaced my everyday wear stuff with the Oso and the Bruin, and now the Ursus are essentially just gym shoes, unless I need like a black shoe to match my outfit. The actual glue that goes all the way around, because the bottom of this, so basically this outsole is glued onto the bottom of the shoe. Now I'll say that on my low tops, the glue has held up really nicely, even though I wore it every single day. And I'll also say that there's not that much wear where the suede and the rubber meet. This does equal another thing though, so for everyday wear, one of the reasons that I didn't prefer this is because if you step in any sort of moisture at all, that moisture just has a way of basically getting straight into the shoe, and so your foot tends to be a little bit wet if you step in any sort of standing water, puddles. The most annoying part that I found, because like standing water and puddles are things that you would expect your feet to get wet if you step in, even if you're wearing normal shoes. But like wet grass, for instance. So like if I was to walk across the grass in the morning with the dew on the grass, my feet would get a little bit wet wearing both the Ursus high top and the low top. Now in the gym, they stand up really well. They do super well. I really do love these. I have replaced my lifters, and I only wear barefoot shoes. Occasionally, I'll get my Romaleo 4 out and I'll just wear them for like a squat session or a pressing session to see if maybe I want to switch back to the Romaleos. But what I found is that over the last 2 years, I have essentially eliminated all my lifter needs with just these barefoot shoes. Of course, that is speaking a little bit to my specific situation because I have really good ankle mobility. So if you're someone who suffers from a lack of ankle mobility and you're unable to improve that ankle mobility by using barefoot shoes, you may still have to use lifters. But what I found is that the design that's in the bottom of the shoe, so basically that rubber texture, is really good for being minimalist, but still offering a really good contact to the ground where you can really focus on your feet not moving. So there's nothing more frustrating than as you go to squat and you're trying to push your toes outwards that the whole shoe just kind of moves, especially if you're standing on a lifting platform. From my experience, these are just as good, if not better, than a lot of the other shoes out there just because of the increased surface area. Now the difference, like I said earlier, is a low top versus a high top, but also this is a canvas fabric versus this being a suede fabric. The suede fabric stands up nicely, but just as a note, suede does come with its own complications as far as cleaning, maintenance, etc. Now being in the service, we use suede boots. It's basically what I do at work anyway. So for me, brushing out any sort of dirt, dust, grime, and then applying a protectant wasn't anything out of the ordinary for me. If that's something that's very different than what you're used to, it's just something to consider when you're comparing the suede to the canvas. Now I want to talk about the canvas high tops. Now, like I said, these were the limited edition Kabuki squat-faced canvas high tops. I like the color because I really like the color green. I also really like Kabuki strength. In case you are new to this channel, I'm a huge advocate for a lot of Kabuki products, and so it seemed like a no-brainer for me to jump in and purchase these. Now I'll say that there's been a couple little issues throughout. So first off, on this shoe, my right shoe, where the tongue comes up, there's a guide where the shoelace basically goes through on the second to last lace up, and what that does is it's supposed to like keep the tongue centered and on the top of your foot. On my left shoe, within weeks, that actually broke off. I never reached out to customer service. I don't know if they would have sent me a free new pair of shoes, but what I found was that basically the tongue doesn't move anyways, so it wasn't really an issue for me. And I honestly think that the one without the guide is easier to use than the one with the guide. Now I'll say that it's so much easier to use that I actually had to relace this guide in just for the sake of the video. But for the most part, I don't actually have the laces going through that guide that's on the tongue. Starting on the outside with the Ursus high tops in canvas, the canvas has held up pretty nicely. There's some slight discoloration to where the shoe has just been worn. I have also thrown these just in the washing machine and done my laundry. Basically put these through a laundry load. I did not dry them, I just washed them, and then I basically put a fan on them just because I wanted to see if they would stand up, and they did pretty well. These are not everyday wear shoes for me though. These are just gym shoes, but I will say that in the sport of strongman, I do take these on the road quite a bit, and I wear them when doing heavy yoke walks, farmer carries, etc. So if they were gonna wear out, that's when they would wear out. They have stood up to that kind of abuse just fine, at least as far as the canvas goes. Like I said earlier, you can start to see some of the wear, but these are coming on like a year and a half old. Like they're getting pretty old, and as a canvas material, you would expect that to wear through. Now the inside of both the suede and the canvas, let's see if I can turn this inside out, has kind of this fabric-y, padded type of part that comes up the side of the shoe. I find that that's really comfortable without being overbearing as far as breathability. That is the big marketed difference between the suede to the canvas, is that the suede is less breathable and these are more breathable. I personally think it's a negligible difference, but I could be experiencing that negligible difference because my high tops are the canvas. But if you purchase them, I would base your opinion on what you're going to get based on more on what they look like and less on that breathability nature. When it comes to the outsole's wearing just like you think it would. On both the Ursus shoes, you can see a little bit of wear where basically the ball of my feet is and where my heel is, but basically everywhere else the shoe is in really good condition on the outsole. It's lasting really well, so the longevity piece for me is like a big check marks. I'll be continuing to use Bearfoot shoes when I do wear through these inevitably. But one thing I do have a complaint on, and Bearfoot did address this with me with a free shoe repair kit, but the glue on my Ursus high tops actually started to deteriorate to the point where you can actually stick your finger up into the bottom of the shoe. They did send me a free shoe repair kit, which included like thread and needle if I ever need to redo any of the threading on my Bruins, as well as some shoe goo. I did keep the hole open just for the sake of this video, but once I do finish recording this video, I'll be going upstairs and basically re-gluing that shut. But those are the Ursus. Now I think that they're great shoes. They are a zero drop. They're like 4 mil thick on the actual rubber. So if you've never used a true minimalist shoe ever in your life, these may be a little bit of a shock for you. I will say that I competed wearing my low tops, and for the press medley, we were actually pressing on a gravel parking lot, and I felt every little piece of gravel. It wasn't so bad that like it caused discomfort, but it was definitely something that I noted where the feel through these shoes, which in the gym is a really good thing to have, is very, very high. So you're gonna feel the ground underneath you basically at all times while you're wearing it. So that's it for the Ursus shoes. Again, the Ursus are more of their gym style shoe. They have the high top and the low top. I will say that their new gum rubber bottoms with the black looks really good, and I might get a pair of those in the future just as I expand my shoes because those black the black high top canvas with the gum rubber on the bottom, I think those would look really good as a normal everyday wear shoe as well. Speaking of those everyday wear shoes, the first ones I want to talk about are the Bruins. Now the Bruins are their take on a boot. There is a really good channel out there that actually did a very in-depth review, so I'm just going to give you guys kind of a cursory glance in my opinions on the Bruin. I wear boots every single day as a part of my work. What I'm going to tell you is that I have worn very, very expensive, nice Gucci boots, not actually Gucci brand, but just like very fancy boots. And what I find is that even when I'm wearing my really fancy boots that are designed and ergonomic and like scientifically evaluated as being the best boot ever, I still find myself wishing that they made the Bruin in like a combat boot type boot, because I would love to wear these every single day because of how comfortable it is once you get used to a zero drop wide toe box boot. Now the boot itself is made out of really good quality leather. They do not come this dark. The reason that mine are this dark is because I have put oil on the outside of the boot and I brush them regularly. Now I do wear them essentially every single day. That includes summer and winter, fall, spring months. Basically year round, I find myself going for these boots. They are significantly heavier than the shoe because there's a lot more material, but that additional material is what gives them their comfortable feel when you're wearing them. You're definitely protected from the ground, where with these you feel every single pebble on the ground. With this, you're not going to. They're going to act just like a kind of work boot would. They are not steel toe or anything. You're definitely going to feel anything that drops onto the top. But again, the leather is a high quality. It's got a nice toe cap, a nice design. I really like the Bearfoot logo that is pressed into the side of the leather. And I really appreciate the green laces. Again, it's just the small details for me, but the color green is just one of those things that I really like. And I think they did a good job putting that into play here. Now the insole is different on the Bruins and on the Osos. On the Bruins and the Osos, it comes with a leather insole so that when you're wearing them every single day, they don't actually wear through. If you're someone who is outdoors a lot or you do construction projects, I'm constantly doing home improvement projects around the house, as well as going hiking, walking, across gravel, basically doing outdoor activities. I think that the Bruins are a great piece to add, especially since you get to extend that natural strengthening of your foot that Bearfoot shoes offer. Now the last one I wanted to cover is kind of like my everyday wear shoe style. Now these are the Osos. I have them in suede. I really would like a pair of canvas ones. We'll see if I get one of those in the future. And again, it has that same leather insole that is unique to the Osos and the Bruin. Because of that nice leather insole, your foot slides in and out of them very easily, which is nice for when you're taking your shoes off and on, but it's also nice and durable, and it really kind of breaks into your foot. The bottom of these are in amazing shape. I take these on the road all the time because they also pack up really, really small. So I can wear these and I can throw these in my carry-on bag, and it limits me from having to do a check bag when I go on the road. Now on that, what I have personally found is that the Osos don't really dress up as nicely as the Bruins. The Bruins, if you put a little bit of effort into them with a brush and some oil, you can actually make them look like a kind of a neat casual shoe. Now the Osos are kind of in a different boat because they kind of have the appearance of kind of like a house shoe. They're a little bit wide on the top. They got two of these elastic closures that basically provide that retention. You can also just kind of step into them. So if you're someone that wears Crocs in sport mode, this is something that might be familiar to you, but basically you can put that heel down and the elastic is there to allow it to completely touch the bottom of the shoe, but also provide a little bit of retention if you just fold them up over the back of your heel. They're really nice. I do get a lot of questions when I wear them though. I actually had someone when I was in DC look at me and they were like, slippers at the bar, huh? And they're definitely not slippers, but they do kind of have that appearance. Now that might just be because I have the tan colored suede, and so that lighter color makes them look bigger. So I don't know if a black color might look a little bit smaller on my feet, but all these do fit my feet. They're really comfortable. They have this, additionally, it kind of makes it look like a slipper more, but this detail here, this suede is kind of like doubled over and sewn. That provides a little bit of the structure that's right here in the top of the shoe that keeps it from just kind of falling onto your foot. But it also has the other feature of kind of making it look like a moccasin. But like I said earlier, the tread pattern on it is actually super resilient, especially for how many steps I have put on both my Bruins, which you can see on my Bruins, I'm starting to drive my heels. I'm starting to lose a little bit of that Bearfoot logo tread that's on the bottom, but they are also priced at $250 for the Bruin. So in the grand scheme of things, $250 for a nice pair of leather boots. Although it is a lot of money, it's not as much as some of the boots that I've seen out there. Now, if you buy your boots at like Walmart and their Caterpillar brand, they're like 40 bucks. I get it, $250 is a big step up, but I will say you are getting a much better quality boot. And I also had one issue where the two layers here that are a part of the outsole actually did come apart, and they sent me another free shoe repair kit, and I just put some shoe goo in there, and that's been about 4 months with the shoe goo. The repair took nicely. You can kind of tell where I put it in because maybe I'm not the best cobbler in the world, but it's held up really nicely since re-gluing them together. So pricing is always the thing. So with gym shoes, I think we're used to, after having lifters and all those types of shoes, of spending quite a bit of money on the footwear that we use. There's also other companies out there like Tolos that is selling really high quality minimalist style footwear that looks a little bit sportier than these. But what we have is the Ursus low top in suede, and that's gonna run you $109 per pair. And then you also have the suede available in a high top, and those high top shoes are gonna run you about $119. The Bruins, like I said earlier, are $250. Now, if you get the Ursus Canvas high tops, they're gonna run $115, so basically just like $4 off. The Canvas low tops are $105 normally, and then the Oso and Canvas are $95, and the Oso and Suede, the ones I'm wearing right now, are $100. Now, if you use the link down below and use code BEAR10 at checkout, that does save you 10% on your order. That's been it for these shoes. I don't know if they're for everybody, if I'm being honest, but what I'll say is that in my experience in the sport of strongman and training powerlifting, I think that they are really, really comfortable shoes. They're minimalist. There is something to strengthening the foot. The foot is the foundation of basically everything that we do, at least everything that we do when we're standing. And so I think that maybe these are a good entry into shoes that are going to be a benefit to your total program. That's been it for this video though. I appreciate each and every single one of you that watch every week. And remember, when it comes to your training in your gym and your shoes, you should keep it better, awesome, and badass. See you next time.